I'm Marla Tejas.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Devine. A burglary suspect had a busy night breaking into two businesses in Hollywood.
Police caught their suspect, but not until the sidewalks were littered with broken glass. Let's go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos with those details tonight. Ed?
And Marla, it's funny you talk about strange. You talk about on the sidewalks, because you know how they caught this guy. LAPD says they spot him walking on the sidewalk over on Hollywood Boulevard on the Hollywood Walk of Fame over all the stars, walking down there carrying the stolen cash drawer right under his arm like it's his book or his iPad or something like that. Even though he's wearing a hoodie trying to disguise his face, he's got the evidence right there. Tell you, not the brightest stars. Let's get to it. To the video we go. Check it. Security video early this morning over at Masty Malone's Ice Cream Parlor over on La Brea. You know that place, very popular. There he is with his hoodie, breaks through a window on the door. He's inside. He grabs the cash register, and then he runs out fast. But then he realizes as he runs away, the register is empty. There's no money in it. So you think he'd move on, right? Think again. He comes back, I'll tell you, and not for a double scoop of double chocolate Rocky Road. He wants money, the owner says. So he ransacks the whole place. He finds a cash drawer in the back. He finally has his money, and he runs off. And then this break-in spree continues less than a mile away, less than an hour away, really only about 30 minutes between both targets. The next target over in Hollywood on Highland, the Gold Nail Bar. It's a nail salon. Same MO there. He breaks through a window in the door. He's inside. He grabs the entire cash register, runs off, runs down the corner at Hollywood and Highland on the Hollywood, and that's where LAPD makes the arrest. But when you talk about these break-ins, the owner of the ice cream shop shaking his head tonight, telling me, you know, they're getting more desperate out here. Usually they hit jewelry stores or high-end designer merchandise shops, but an ice cream parlor, jeez, of all things. Listen.
That they broke into our ice cream shops. We don't own a jewelry. This is an ice cream shop.
Ice cream?
Ice cream. I mean, all over the store. He broke one of the storage doors in the back. He was very desperate, in a hurry, and then he somehow found the cash tray. He grabbed the cash box, the whole thing, the whole register. He walked away under his arm, very
So they can find him easily. Not that smart.
Exactly. We have 3 locations, and altogether, this is the 7th time in the past 2 years.
Now live, that puts it in perspective. 3 locations, the one here in Hollywood, Westwood, Silver Lake, and he was telling me they've been here in business 46 years, no problems, and in the last 2 years, all of a sudden you have those 7 break-ins. He says, ladies, it's very, very frustrating because they're losing money. It's not really enough that you could claim for insurance because you got to fix the window that's broken, the door that's broken, the cash register that's broken, and the cash that's stolen. But he said it's just frustrating. He wishes the city would help. More police, more LAPD is what he's telling me is the answer.
Wow, we were both surprised by the number of break-ins that one business owner's experienced. Ed, does he talk about how much money this person's actually getting, or we know the motive is money, but why? Does he have any guesses on the why on this?
No, out of just lawlessness, out of control crime, he did not. And I'll be honest, he did not speak very highly of L.A., saying he loves the city, been here almost 50 years, but he says in the last couple of years it's become third world city with all the break-ins, and he just went on and on about that, and he says we need more police out here because, and he also made this point, because business is tough to begin with, the economy's slowing down, so you're just kind of scraping, and then you're hit over and over by these losses, by break-ins, by people stealing your cash drawer, couple of $100 presumably each time. He said it just adds up, and it just, you know, you just kind of say, the heck with it, I'm going to throw in the towel.
Does he plan to throw in the towel then? He has multiple locations. Will he shutter some of them?
Oh, no, he's going to roll up his sleeves. You know, he's got a lot of strength, and I say that, you know, a Persian at heart. He says, we don't give up. We just roll up our sleeves and get to work, and he says he's going to deal with it. But his press in moving in that direction will be to try to get the city to try to get some help, get more police officers in that area, because he thinks if you have officers on the streets patrolling in their black and whites, you're going to shut down a lot of these easy crimes where they just break in and they're in and out in a matter of a couple of minutes, and, you know, even before the police can get there.
Well, hopefully there's enough videos and evidence that they can catch this guy and every other one who's breaking into businesses. All right, thanks so much.
All right, meteorologist Star Harvey standing by as we give you a live look from atop Mount Wilson there, and it always looks so nice looking down in the San Fernando Valley. Really nice temperatures today.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite views. I grew up around that area, so being able to spend some time up there in my school years, not a bad view there. As for the rest of us down here across the LA Basin, we also have gorgeous conditions. Now, we do have some clouds passing in and across the area. We are going to see more of that cloud cover out to the west of us, so across San Luis Obispo, but also into Santa Barbara and Ventura County as well. We will make through the rest of this evening with those partly cloudy skies. Temperatures at 60 degrees right now across the downtown LA area, and we do have a nice west wind just at about 5 miles per hour out there. Outside of LA, we do have still some mild spots. 75 in Anaheim right now, 66 in Ontario, down in Lake Elsinore, 73 degrees, and up in Woodland Hills, temperatures at 61 degrees. Beautiful winds as well. Sustained winds moving at about 5 to 12 miles per hour. As we dip into our lows tonight, we'll be bringing it up a few degrees. It has been chilly, especially how we came off of last week and through portions of our weekend as well. We will be making it back near our averages. We are talking 50s across most of the area. As we move into tomorrow, we are expected to have another warm day on tap. Temperatures expected to be anywhere from about 8 to 12 degrees above their averages. We're not stopping there this week. We could see some areas with 90-degree temperatures on the map. I'll be back with a look at that. For now, back to you.
Warm. Tonight, though, the Northeast is getting hit hard with a blizzard, and some places seeing as much as 3 feet of snow. High winds created whiteout conditions, grounding flights and forcing school closures across that region. Crews are right now working to clear roads as bitter cold moves in behind the storm. The weather fine here in SoCal, but we are feeling the effects of the bad weather at our airports. You're looking live at LAX, where there have been 131 cancellations today alone. Taking a look at our other area airports. John Wayne next after LAX with 25 cancellations. Ontario and Burbank have 15 and 12, followed by Long Beach with 7 cancellations.
Well, in Mexico, the fallout is still unfolding following the killing of a cartel boss. More than 70 people have been killed, including 25 Mexican National Guard members. Images of the violence are rattling those with ties to Mexico. Fox 11's Haley Winslow spoke to some of them.
Parts of Mexico remain tense. After Mexico's military kills a high-ranking cartel leader, violence erupts in retaliation. Difficult images for Jalisco native and Southern California restaurant owner Benjamin Arreola to watch, even from afar.
Feel bad, but yesterday it was really bad.
The most intense unrest centers in Jalisco and surrounding states.
We're in the middle of a war zone between organized crime and the government.
Cartel members set vehicles on fire, blocking highways, shutting down public transportation, and prompting shelter-in-place orders. The first 24 hours, terrifying even for locals.
Our city has been burnt to crisp.
¿Tienen miedo?
We're really scared this time, although we're kind of accustomed to the situation in Mexico. We didn't think this situation was going to escalate.
Since then, chaos has calmed, and daily life is slowly resuming.
One of the buses that was burnt yesterday is still there, but the cars are driving around it.
Annie Garcia flies her drone over parts of Puerto Vallarta.
As you can see, nobody's coming out with anything in their hands. Everybody's just waiting patiently.
We don't have supplies to last us for very long. And y'all are still worried about whether the all-inclusive hotel is going to be open for you. Probably not. Probably not.
Locals who depend on it hope the violence doesn't hurt tourism long term.
If you are allowing this to color your view of Mexico and Puerto Vallarta, wake up, consider what's happening in the country that you live in, and ask yourself if you would want to be personally judged by that.
But even some natives are staying away for now.
Yeah, I'm from there, and I'm not going, you know.
Conditions have improved in some areas, but as one native told me, you never know what the cartel is going to do, so continued violence is very possible. Reporting at LAX, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Outrage tonight over the upcoming release of a convicted kidnapper and child molester currently being held at the state prison in Chino. Sacramento County Sheriff's Department among those outraged by the decision. David Allen Funston was convicted of 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation in 1999. His victims, boys and girls, were under 7 years old. Funston was sentenced to 20 years and 8 months in prison, as well as 3 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life for the crimes he committed in the Sacramento area. The now 64-year-old was recently granted parole by the California Corrections Department under the state's elderly parole program. The former deputy district attorney who prosecuted Funston tells me she's fighting to keep him locked up. Your reaction?
I would say mortified, shocked, disgusted. Don't understand how any reasonable group of people could think this person should ever be released from prison. As soon as I found out this was going on, I found several of the victims. They're outraged, they're shocked, they're disgusted, and they want to do everything in their power to stop this.
Anne Marie Schubert says she has written a letter to the Department of Corrections to ask the board to evaluate Funston for being a sexually violent predator. No word when Funston is scheduled to be released.
Today was the first time we actually got to see Nick Reiner in court as he entered a plea to murder charges related to the death of his parents, Robert and Michelle Reiner. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez was in the courtroom for the arraignment.
We'd like to go forward with the arraignment this time.
The arraignment for Nick Reiner, charged with the murder of his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner and his photographer wife, Michelle. Their daughter found them stabbed to death December 14th at their Brentwood home. Nick was arrested that night near Exposition Park.
Enter a plea of not guilty.
Through his new attorney, public defender Kimberly Green, the 32-year-old Reiner pled not guilty. He faces 2 counts of murder with special circumstances, including the use of a knife, which opens the possibility of the death penalty if he is found guilty.
And we have invited defense counsel to present to us, both in writing and orally in a meeting, any arguments that they would like to make in consideration for our going forward or not going forward with the death penalty.
The defense did not speak to reporters, allowing her client to speak in court only once, agreeing to delay his preliminary hearing for at least 2 months.
I would expect the preliminary hearing to probably get continued a few more times.
Criminal defense attorney Christopher Cheney is not working the Reiner case, but offers perspective on how he thinks they'll proceed.
He has a very, very good attorney on the public defender's side, and he still will get a very, very good defense. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see where this is heading, and some sort of insanity defense is most likely going to be the defense in it.
As you can see, he was not wearing a suicide watch vest, but that brown outfit he was wearing usually is for inmates who are under some kind of medical supervision. Now, he did wave at a couple of people who were in the audience. They waved back. They said their family, but did not identify themselves. Reiner does remain in custody, no bail. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
Still ahead at 8, tariff uncertainty tonight, and retailers warn they're operating in the dark, saying higher costs could be passed on to consumers.
Well, families rebuilding in the fire-ravaged Palisades say they're facing another setback, including brush clearance fines, on empty lots where homes burned down. President Trump will deliver his State of the Union address tomorrow. He's expected to highlight strong economic growth amid concerns about high living costs and trade policies, as well as address immigration and foreign policy. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger set to deliver the rebuttal, while California Senator Alex Padilla will deliver the Spanish language rebuttal. California Senator Adam Schiff announcing he plans to boycott the State of the Union. Instead, he'll speak at a counter rally on the National Mall.
The U.S. stocks tumbled today after President Trump escalated his push for new global tariffs. The Dow plunged 821 points. The Nasdaq fell 258, and the S&P 500 dropped 71 as investors reacted to renewed trade uncertainty. Well, those new tariffs mean the same uncertainty tonight for retailers. Fox's Edward Lawrence has more.
Tariff uncertainty is back. The Trump administration laid out plans to increase its global tariff at 15%, with carve-outs for USMCA and trade deals, replacing tariffs ruled illegal by the U.S. Supreme Court last week.
The president does not need Congress to move the tariff revenue back up.
Meanwhile, retailers are operating in the dark. Last year, many raced to stockpile inventory before tariffs took effect.
I feel like we are in an emergency situation now. It might not look that way on the surface, but it very much is so.
The National Retail Federation calling the Supreme Court ruling, quote, much needed certainty for U.S. businesses and manufacturers.
This isn't as big a deal as everyone keeps talking about. Sure, there's an impact. Sure, there's uncertainty, and that's probably the worst thing.
Many business owners have hit the brakes on shipments indefinitely. Others have cut staff and raised prices to deal with higher costs. Some of the biggest companies say they are passing tariff-related costs on to customers. Walmart attributed a jump in prices for certain goods to higher import duties. Levi Strauss says it's hiking prices in response to tariffs by modest amounts on lower-priced items.
Retailers should focus on running their businesses well, getting merchandise consumers really want to buy, having fantastic service, and a great website. And the rest of this is going to sort out, and it's not going to be a major hit.
The White House disputes tariffs are fueling inflation and hurting the economy.
He is fulfilling his mandate to the American people to bring back manufacturing and stop the U.S. from being ripped off by our trading partners.
The Trump administration says the tariffs will shrink the deficit by adding fair trade terms, energizing domestic manufacturing, and generating billions in federal revenue. At the White House, Edward Lawrence, Fox Business.
All right, coming up, are you hungry? We hope so. Sweet potato pie, red velvet cake, and peach cobbler, 3 bestsellers, helping a local bakery rise to success.
We celebrate Black heritage. We take you inside the recipe that's critical to success of sweet red peach. What's next? Sweet for sweet potato pie, red for red velvet cake, peach for cobbler, of course. 3 bestsellers that launched Sweet Red Peach, a bakery chain in Inglewood in this Black Heritage Month story. Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna sifts the ingredients to this recipe for success.
How did a plumber become a baker?
That's funny, I know, right?
When Carolyn Plummer was growing up in Compton, she never saw herself selling cakes.
And 3 slices of lemon. Alrighty.
Let alone becoming the creator-owner of a bakery so popular, people drive from all over to get her sweet red peach treats. We met Carolyn on a day when her team was busy decorating strawberries and hand-cutting cookies for Valentine's Day. But it's the cakes and the cobblers that keep the business rolling in the dough the rest of the year. So how many different cakes do you make?
Oh my gosh, I can't even. Honestly, I don't know.
Carolyn is too modest to say, but she apparently has a special talent for taking the ordinary and baking it better. Her first cake was the red velvet. She tweaked the recipe, then tweaked it further to create the blue velvet.
It's the cousin to the red velvet. It's very similar in taste, but this one has fresh blueberries in it, so it stands out.
How is it?
Out of this world. She opened her first Sweet Red Peach in Inglewood in 2011, but she was selling her cakes long before that, baking into the night after she finished teaching at Kelly Elementary.
And my colleagues at Kelly Elementary in Compton were my first testers, and they loved it, and then it sparked something in me.
Now, in 2026, Sweet Red Peach has 2 corporate locations and 5 franchise locations.
Especially in this economy, it's scary, but you have to just keep everything consistent, keep everything right, because people will pay for quality, but when you try to go up on your prices and you go down on the quality, that's a recipe for disaster.
The day before Valentine's Day, the bakery sold out of many of the cake slices. Afternoon customers got lucky when a restaurant didn't pick up their order.
They'll just have to come tomorrow. We got to sell these because we don't have anything.
Because any way you slice it, life is better with cake. Sweet red peach cake, that is. Susan Hirasuna, Fox 11 News.
Weather is sponsored by My Home Sold.
Nice night out there, right?
Yes.
Getting warmer.
Sorry, I was still thinking about
Which kind of cake
the red velvet cake.
I know, you're like, which slice would I like to take home? All right, Star Army with the weather.
I'd like to take one each, right?
Exactly.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, cannot go wrong with that. We do have one weather story this week, and it is going to be the fact that we are going to be warming up and staying dry. Outdoors right now, this is a look across the Santa Monica area. We can see the pier out there in the distance, and pretty just faint and quiet, just gorgeous conditions here into the start of our weekend. We're going to expect to see more of that through this week. We're going to go a little bit of a tour here across the country, see what's happening. We do have some flights that have been canceled, and partly to do with that is going to be our weather conditions. You'll see out to the Midwest, but also the Mid-Atlantic. We do have some wintry weather developing, so some snowfall, and then of course we have our own bit of wet weather here across the West Coast as well. Most of that up to the Pacific Northwest, but also into Northern California. Down here, closer to home, we are protected by this high pressure system, so it will do its bit in keeping us dry throughout most of this week. And of course, you do show those clouds that are beginning to develop out to the west of us, and here across the LA area we can expect to see some partly cloudy skies for some of us through this evening. We are going to be warm all week. We are not going to see any of that rain. The lowest we can see some of that moisture sitting up to the north of us, maybe across the San Luis Obispo area, but we are talking about a 10% chance or less this week. And then as we do get into the end of our week, we are expecting that our temperatures by Friday should peak, and that means that it's going to bring in the chance for some upper 80s to 90-degree temperatures. Here's how good we did across the area for today. We saw a lot of 80s. This is building up from our weekend. So temperatures today, some of us got more than 10 degrees above our averages. We did still hold on to those 50s across our mountains. Our high desert saw temperatures in the 60s. We had a few valleys in the 80s as well. And of course, down into our low deserts, we also had some 80s along the coast, 70-degree temperatures for today. Here's a look at our future cast. It is going to continue showing us just what's coming tomorrow, and that is going to be more rainfall point north. There's that high pressure system moving its way into our screen here, and that means that it's going to build in not just for tomorrow, but through this week, the middle of the week, but also the end of our week as well, keeping away all of that moisture. Our temperatures outdoors right now, they're feeling good depending on where you are. We got 71 degrees down in Anaheim, 66 in Ontario. At the LAX airport, slightly cooler, 60 degrees, and along the San Pedro area, temperatures also feeling quite nice out there in the 60s. Tonight we'll be dropping down into the mid to upper 50s, which is an increase coming off of last week as well as this weekend. I'll have more details on those 80 and 90 degree temperatures headed this way. For now, back to you.
Not sure I'm ready for that. No choice. All right. Still ahead, the dispute between an NBA All-Star and the city of Beverly Hills continues as a coalition of civil rights groups is calling for state investigation alleging racial profiling following the shutdown of a private NBA All-Star Weekend event. Plus, a long-stalled Graffiti Towers project near LA Live could finally be moving forward, with leaders saying it could help boost downtown's economy.
And we're in Westwood tonight, where city crews have spent the last month clearing out a homeless encampment. Then it comes back, and they clear it out, and then it's back. Tonight, the latest on this growing problem.
Across SoCal, this is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
Only on Fox 11 tonight, the notorious homeless encampment at one of LA's busiest intersections in Westwood is back.
So we were there last month when city crews cleared it out. Since then, the cleaning and camping cycle has just kept going. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf live there tonight with more. Matthew?
Yeah, when we were out here a month ago, the campers were back within just a few hours, and since then there's been more cleaning by city crews, and then the campers just come right back again. And really, this is just an example of something that's happening across the city with this homelessness crisis. If you take a look at this video, this is what it looks like tonight here at the intersection of Westwood and Santa Monica. Tons of trash, liquor bottles, a barbecue, furniture, a bag of scrap metal, condoms, and human waste. Deplorable conditions for the around 10 people we counted out here this evening. And again, this comes about a month after we first did a story here where crews were clearing out the encampments. City officials threw away much of the trash then, but within hours, the homeless came right back. Since then, there's been more cleanups. Again, the homeless return. Frustrating for people working with homes nearby and for those here living on the street.
It's pretty embarrassing, honestly. I had some friends in town recently, and we're coming back from LAX, and we're right here, and it's like, oh wow, welcome to LA, you know? I mean, this is supposed to be one of the nicer areas.
I feel bad, certainly for the people. I mean, I'm sure that everyone has their own story that got them to this place, you know?
Have you been trying to get into a shelter or anything?
Yeah, I mean, they come and see me for housing, but I haven't really been pushing it other than that. I kind of stayed out here because of, like, the whole situation with that, you know?
Why not go to the housing?
Oh, because if I go to the housing, then I wouldn't be out here for the people that need me, so that's why I'm here.
What does that mean?
It means I help people myself out here, you know?
People that go to the shelters are the ones that are the most broken, the most violent, the most, you know, it's like being in prison without prison guards.
So you'd rather live on the street?
Than around things. You could die in a shelter.
So a month ago, the councilwoman out here wanted to declare this block a no camping zone. It's unclear if that was passed by the city council. We reached out to her office this evening, and so far we haven't heard back. Reporting live in Westwood, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Because to that point, Matthew, you were there a month ago. The cleanup happened. I've seen cleanups happen since then. So it's literally happening over and over again within weeks of the cleanup. So the question becomes, how does the council person enforce this?
Yeah, and again, this is just a small example of something that's happening across the city. They'll clear out these encampments, they'll make it look better for a few hours, and then more people move right back in, and then they'll clear it up, and they move back, and this is just something that we're seeing all over the place, really.
I got to ask you, Matthew, because you've covered a lot of these stories. When you hear that one last gentleman who said he's more fearful of being with the people that are in the shelters because of the nature of some of those people, what do you make of that?
That is the most common answer we get when we speak with homeless people about why are you not taking the services that are being offered to you, is people don't feel safe. They feel like it's safer to be out on the street. They say that it's dirty and you don't get to pick who you're living and sleeping next to. So it sounds like the common theme is, speaking with the homeless across LA, is they feel safer and would rather live on the street than in some of these shelters.
Something they have to contend with, and by they I mean the city and the officials who are dealing with this problem. Okay, Matthew, thank you so much. New tonight, a coalition of civil rights groups is demanding California's Attorney General investigate the Beverly Hills Police Department. They're alleging racial profiling in connection with a private event thrown by Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown. That event, which was at a private residence during NBA All-Star Weekend, was shut down by police. It was intended to promote Brown's shoe brand, 741 Performance. The Boston Globe reports the city of Beverly Hills rejected a permit application due to prior alleged violations at the residence. Brown has publicly disputed that claim, stating the private gathering was not commercial or open to the public and therefore did not require a permit.
We see that the problems that have existed for years are continuing to exist, but now we have a well-known athlete who was a victim of racial profiling. So we're hoping to see that this will raise awareness.
Also happening, attorney Ben Crump filed a $500 million class action lawsuit against the city of Beverly Hills, citing data showing disproportionate arrests of black individuals.
Stalled downtown LA project called Ocean View Plaza is finally getting a fresh start. You've seen the building before. We're talking about the so-called Graffiti Towers. KPC Group and Lend Lease have teamed up to revive the ocean-wide plaza development, which has been tied up in bankruptcy for 2 years. The deal has initial court approval with final approval expected later this year. Leaders say the project near LA Live and Crypto Arena will boost downtown revitalization and the economy. More details will follow as the process moves forward.
New details tonight in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Multiple reports say the masked person seen on doorbell video at the 84-year-old's Tucson home was there on more than one night. Not just the morning authorities believe she was kidnapped. Investigators say they're reviewing thousands of hours of video as local, state, and federal teams continue the search across southern Arizona.
Today, Fox 11 spoke to Ed Smart. His daughter Elizabeth's disappearance also captivated the nation. She was missing for 9 months. Smart spoke to us about the parallels with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance and his daughter's.
To have it continue going on and on, you just want to basically cover all bases that are possible. I know at one point we talked about trying to get a private investigator involved. In fact, we did get one in. We also had Henry Lee come in, a specialist that had previously been brought in on cold cases. Not that this is a cold case, because it isn't, but you just want everything covered. You don't want, anything left unturned.
Smart says he reached out to the Guthrie family but hasn't heard back, but is offering to do whatever he can to help in the search. For the full interview, you can head to the Fox Local app.
In fire-devastated Pacific Palisades, families still rebuilding are facing what they call another blow. Almost 14 months after the deadly fire destroyed homes, some residents are receiving $31 bills from the city of LA for alleged brush clearance violations, even on lots where homes and vegetation are gone. Neighbors say calls to question the charges go unanswered, with voicemail boxes full.
It's one final blow, after they screwed us over, they're still trying to take money.
This is cruel and insulting. We have no house, we have no brush.
We received a statement from a city council member, Tracy Park, saying in part, the last thing fire victims need is another bill in the mail. We're directly in touch with LAFD leadership and looking forward to resolving these issues for our residents. LA Mayor Karen Bass, her office also provided a statement saying this is unacceptable. No resident who lost their home in the Palisades should receive this charge. The mayor's office is in contact with LAFD to determine next steps.
Well, one of Karen Bass's opponents for mayor joined me in studio earlier tonight. Nithya Raman was once a major ally of Mayor Bass, and she talked with me tonight about why she chose to face off against her.
We are faced with some really big issues right now. And over the last year, I've felt a growing sense of frustration that we are actually backsliding, failing to even deliver on the basics. I have to look at my constituents in the face and tell them, trust me on homelessness, but I can't fix your street light for a year. And that kind of failing to deliver the basics, I think, is a palpable feeling among residents in Los Angeles, and something that's been really making me frustrated about the way in which this city is moving.
The 2026 LA mayoral election will be held on June 2nd. If no candidate receives a majority of the vote, a runoff election will be held November 3rd. No endorsement in California's governor's race. At its state convention over the weekend, the California Democratic Party declined to back a candidate after none reached the 60% threshold. Eric Swalwell led delegate support with 24%, followed by Betty Yee and Javier Becerra. In a recent Emerson College poll, Republican Steve Hilton leads all candidates at 17%. Coming up, some scary moments at a Russian ski resort over the weekend.
Guests ran for cover as an avalanche engulfed the area. That story is next.
As we head through the rest of this week, we do have high pressure building up, keeping away a bit of moisture, but also bringing in the heat. I'll have those details and more on the other side of this break.
Terrifying moments at a ski resort on Mount Elbrus in Russia, where guests ran for cover as a massive avalanche barreled down the mountainside. Video shows tourists scrambling indoors just seconds before a wall of snow engulfed the area. Officials say the slide was intentionally triggered to reduce avalanche risk after heavy snowfall. No injuries were reported.
A massive blizzard has blanketed the northeast in snow today, with several areas seeing record-breaking snowfall measuring several feet.
Fox's CB Cotton reports from New York.
Snow across the northeast already being measured in feet as this blizzard continues to pummel the region, and officials have warned that dangerous conditions are expected through the evening.
Stay inside. Get off the roads tonight. In our last storm, I said don't travel if you don't have to. Now I'm just saying don't travel tonight.
Many transit systems, schools, and businesses shutting down for the day. And in hard-hit areas like New York City and New Jersey, travel bans were in effect, with many areas experiencing near whiteout conditions.
I'm imploring New Yorkers to stay off the roads. The fewer passenger and commercial vehicles need to be assisted, the quicker we can respond to plows and emergency vehicles.
The heavy and dense snow, combined with high winds of up to 60 miles per hour, have also left more than 600,000 without power. And at airports, many travelers have been left stranded, with more than 10,000 flights canceled nationwide and nearly 2,000 already called off for Tuesday.
I need to get back to Miami. I got to make it back to school. I can't miss a day. You know, I got to get back.
Still, many were out enjoying the winter wonderland, including in New York's Central Park and Times Square.
We've been dancing in Times Square this morning in the middle of the road in rush hour. Just dancing and not believing we could do it.
In addition to plows here in the Big Apple, officials also recruited people to help shovel, with some beginning last night. In New York City, CB Cotton, Fox News.
And you want to know why people relocate from there to here?
We are so spoiled in sunshine. But to think that a week ago, we had that major downpour.
Yes, we did.
3 rounds of rain.
3 rounds of rain, and then we arrived at the end of last week and then moving into the weekend, and things just turned around. It was hard to believe.
I know
what we had just experienced.
And this week ahead, wow.
Wow, right? Yes, we are still sitting in the thick of our winter season, and we are talking temperatures in the 80s and 90s this week. So while we do have a very active pattern here across the West Coast, we saw with CB Cotton all of that wintry weather moving across not just the East Coast, but also the Mid-Atlantic, the Midwest, just a lot of snow. And yes, back here across the West Coast, down in the LA area, Southern California, we are on the drier side. And again, just as you heard us chatting there, we dealt with our fair share of nasty weather last week. So we deserve what's happening for us this week. We are not just under dry conditions, but also we do have those mostly clear skies, some clouds rolling across some of the area. Today we did impressive 81 degrees. Our normal is 68 for this day. If you take a look at those lows, we are finally getting back to business as usual. Last week we had our temperatures in the 30s with those lows. And again, as we do get through the remainder of this week, we are expecting our temperatures to range about 10 to 20 degrees above their averages for the LA and surrounding region. Out there right now in downtown, we're at 60 degrees. We do have a west wind moving at just 5 miles per hour. Back to Ontario, 66 degrees, as well as down into Riverside. Palm Springs holding on to 71. And take a look at Big Bear. They're at 32 degrees, while the rest of us are under those 50s, 60s, and 70-degree temperatures. Fraser Park also coming in at 42 degrees. Here's a wider look at our winds, not just our regional winds. We do have our winds up near the Fraser Park area, fairly calm. Along the coast, calm as well. Moving at about 2 to 8 miles per hour locally. Our temperatures tonight for the LA area, we are bringing it up closer to our normal. That will land us in the 50s. We do have some chilly conditions the further west, but also north you go. You'll see that across the Antelope Valley. Our lows tonight dropping into the 40s. The mountains will be in the 30s, and Palm Springs will be holding on to the 60s. We do have a ridge in our jet stream. You'll see that ridge going just like that, right? And so with that ridge, it does allow for this warmer air to just go ahead and dominate our weather pattern through the remainder of this week. So again, by the time we arrive at Friday, we are expecting that our temperatures will peak, not just here in LA and the Orange County area, but across our valleys as well as our deserts. We're going for a high of 79 degrees for tomorrow, but we will tap into those 80-degree temperatures by the end of this week. By this week, Friday, LA, we're expecting to be in the upper 80s, and we talked about the 90s. Here's a look at some of those upper 80s pushing into Friday for the valleys. Those 90s are likely to move across some of our low deserts. We're shooting for 60s across the mountains for tomorrow. We'll be in the upper 60s, possibly a low 70 by the time we get to the end of this week. And then the coast, yes, you're going to be a little bit cooler than what we do see across some of our valleys and deserts, but still doing quite decent to 71 degrees for tomorrow, warming into the mid 70s before this week comes to an end. Here's a look into those low deserts, those 90-degree temperatures that I keep talking about. They could arrive for you as early as the middle of this week, and they are not budging, at least until we get to the end of our weekend. And of course, our high deserts, it's a little cool up there right now, but temperatures for tomorrow rebounding to about 78 degrees, and then you will get your fair share of 80-degree temperatures also by the time we get to this week's end. Back to you.
All right, we still have more news ahead here at 8.
But first, here's a preview of what's coming up at 9. Some Americans are getting out of Mexico tonight, and they have a harrowing story to tell. We'll hear from some of them after they land at LAX. Plus, if you are looking for something fun to do in March, then you're going to want to head to Dana Point, where it all will be about the whales. We'll explain ahead at 9.
Looking for something to do that's new? This next place you need to see to believe. From picking out the right suit to your first honey harvest, the Valley Hive helps newbies and veterans alike talk about beekeeping. Fox 11's Coco McAvoy's in Chatsworth to show us what the buzz is all about.
Hey there. I've always known how important bees are and how critical they are to our society, but you know, until I came here to the Valley Hive, I don't think I had a full understanding. So I'm so grateful for all the people here at Valley Hive for teaching me, and now I'm facing a fear. I'm getting up close and personal with the bees. I'm here with Keith and Danny, the owners, and take us through the process here.
All right, so we have the entrance here. This is their second brood box. We call this a medium hive body.
Okay.
This is a deep hive body. So we're going to use smoke. Smoke is going to mask the pheromone. Fun fact for trivia night, the alarm pheromone smells like bananas, so when I go to the grocery store, I have trauma. Never mind that. So we're going to smoke the bees a little bit.
Okay.
And now we're going to take this top box off completely.
Okay.
And now we're going to get access to these girls. And what we want to do, we want to work from the outside in.
Okay.
So we're going to take this outside frame out to make a little bit of room here. I'm going to hand this to my partner. And now, brood, which is where the queen is laying, is going to be likely in the middle.
Okay.
And so I'm going to give them a little bit of smoke. I'm going to isolate that brood frame.
And something interesting you were telling me about the queen, you can always spot them because they have a color based off the year they were born, right?
So we can mark them based on the color of that year. So with that color there, that's pollen. This is all pollen there. You can see the larva, and so when a queen lays an egg, after 3 days, that egg will hatch into a larva. After 9 days, it becomes a pupa, and then after that, 12 more days, 21 total, a baby bee will emerge from every one of these cappings.
That's incredible.
And over here, this is all solid honey. This is all solid honey.
Oh, beautiful.
And that's going to be food for them when they need it.
Okay.
And a queen lays about 1,500 to 2,000 eggs a day. Will bring up the population between 30 to 60,000 bees.
Danny and Keith, thank you so much for a fantastic day, really learning so much about bees. And take another look here. You can just see how beautiful they are. I never thought I'd be holding bees and seeing them this up close and personal, because I usually would run, but truly a beautiful living creature that we have to make sure that we save. I'll send it back to you.
Well done, Coco. Well done. All right, if you're planning a trip to a national park, check before you go. Arches National Park and Yosemite National Park are dropping timed vehicle reservations for 2026, even during peak summer months. Glacier National Park is scaling back restrictions in several areas, but Rocky Mountain National Park will continue its timed entry system starting in late May.
I do love our national parks. It was a big thing when I was a kid. The family would pile into the car and do these road trips to see different parts of the United States.
So you've been to Yosemite?
Yes, as a little kid.
Okay, it's
I know
been a
you grew
while.
up in that area.
Well,
closer to the area.
I did, but it wasn't until I was an adult that I actually went.
Okay.
It's just stunning. Yeah, so if you get a chance to visit any of these, please do it. Please do it.
All right, don't go anywhere. We're not done yet.
LA Live News Tonight continues at 9 o'clock. Right after the break, we'll see you there.
across SoCal. This is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
The most important thing at this moment is to guarantee the peace and security of the entire population of all of Mexico.
Now at 9, chaos in paradise. American tourists caught in the middle of cartel violence in Mexico share their harrowing stories after finally landing back home. 2 Hollywood businesses targeted in late-night break-ins, but could the same person be behind both crimes? Police think so, and they have made an arrest. And we're live from the coast to the inland valleys. Meteorologist Star Harvey with a preview of what's on the horizon.
Well, as we do move through most of this week, we're doing so under dry conditions. High pressure keeping us that way, but also warming us up. Now I have the details on how warm we get after this.
Good evening, everybody. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. Thanks for being with us. I'm Marla Tejas. At least 73 people are dead in Mexico's attempt to capture a notorious cartel kingpin, El Mencho, and the violent aftermath of his death. They include 25 Mexican National Guard members killed in 6 separate attacks and some 34 criminal suspects as the threat of violence looms. Mexican states canceled school. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum says more than 250 cartel roadblocks have been cleared across 20 states. There are also worries about El Mencho's killing creating a power vacuum, unleashing more violence as criminal groups seek to expand control over Cartel Jalisco. Nemesio Azaguera Cervantes was the boss of one of the fastest growing criminal networks in Mexico. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel traffics fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine to the U.S. But long before El Mencho had a $15 million bounty, he had ties to California. He was a small-time drug dealer in San Francisco, where he lived for years after being deported. In 1994, he was sent to prison for trafficking heroin in the U.S., then deported again to Mexico, where in 2009 he co-founded the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. And new tonight, we are hearing firsthand accounts from people who were in Puerto Vallarta, many getting flights out and landing at LAX tonight. Fox 11's Laura Diaz, she's live there with their stories from these travelers. Laura?
Yes, Marla, as you just mentioned, dozens were killed in the violence that was set off by the cartel. And you could almost sense the relief this evening as some of the people came back to Southern California, here to LAX, and were back home where they belonged.
Scary as anything.
At LAX Monday night, passengers on United Flight 244 from Puerto Vallarta exited customs with more than their baggage. They had a dramatic story to tell.
My Airbnb host drove me to the airport, and it was bad. There were businesses, mostly like OXXOs, like corporate businesses, just burned up, devastated, buses, cars.
Some were in the picturesque resort town of Puerto Vallarta when the head of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, El Mencho, was killed Sunday along with 8 cartel members. It was a Mexican military operation aided by U.S. intelligence. As some streets erupted into violence, travelers, including many from Southern California, were put on lockdown.
When I woke up in the morning, the sky was completely dark.
The State Department urged American nationals to continue to shelter in place Monday. Several carriers suspended flights to Puerto Vallarta Sunday. But Monday night, United Flights and Alaska Flights brought grateful passengers home. This Long Beach woman shot video on her phone of the lawlessness in the streets.
They would take the taxi drivers out of the vehicles, put the 2 cars on the intersection, and set them on fire so nobody could get by.
And yet all the travelers said they'd go to Mexico again, expressing concern for the Mexican people who had nothing to do with the violence, they said. This man, who just flew in from Guadalajara, another flashpoint, said he was going back to Mexico in a few weeks.
More or less the outside rural areas of Guadalajara were affected, but the main portion of the city was just like a normal day.
Other flights were also coming in from those Mexican cities. More are planned for tomorrow, so you have some sense, Marla, that maybe things are just beginning to get back to normal. Laura Diaz reporting live from LAX, sending it back to the studio.
And everyone you talked to tonight, what struck you the most, Laura?
I think what struck me the most was that they all said that they would go back and they felt so bad for the people of Mexico, who they said had nothing to do with the violence, and they fear that all of this news that's been going around the world will impact business. People will be afraid to travel there, and the economy is already rough, that this will make it even worse.
All right. Interesting perspective from them. We thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Yes.
Skyfox over a house fire that broke out this afternoon just after 3 p.m. in a residential neighborhood near Garvey Avenue and South Atlantic Boulevard in Alhambra. Fire crews quickly responded and worked to contain the blaze. The cause remains under investigation. No injuries have been reported. A Koreatown lawyer is going to prison for taking a $2 million bribe. 58-year-old Paulinus Okoronkwo of Rancho Cucamonga was sentenced to over 7 years. According to the DOJ, he laundered bribery money while working for Nigeria's state-owned oil company. He spent the money on personal expenses, evaded taxes, and lied to investigators. Along with prison, he must pay restitution and forfeit more than $1 million. New tonight, LA County Sheriff's detectives are asking for help in finding 15-year-old Nevaeh Destiny Cabrera. She's seen here. She was last seen early this morning about 3:30 a.m. near Whittier Boulevard and Glengarry Avenue in unincorporated Whittier. Nevaeh is 5'5". She weighs 100 pounds. She has brown curly hair and green eyes. She was last seen wearing a black Nike puffer jacket and Hello Kitty pajama pants. Her family is, as you can imagine, very worried about her. If you have any information, please contact the LA County Sheriff's Department immediately. A burglary suspect had a busy night breaking into 2 businesses in Hollywood. But police caught their suspect, but not until the sidewalks were littered with broken glass. Let's go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos with more details tonight. Ed?
Marla, you mentioned the sidewalk, and you know that's how LAPD catches this guy. They spot him on the sidewalk over at Hollywood and Highland, walking down the Hollywood Walk of Fame over the stars on the sidewalk, and he's carrying one of those stolen cash register drawers right under his arm. So they grab him, cuff him, stuff him. He's under arrest. But all of this after not one but 2 businesses are hit here in Hollywood, and all within a matter of minutes. Watch. The damaging fallout after the latest series of break-ins, this time Hollywood and an ice cream shop of all places.
They broke into our ice cream shops. We don't own a jewelry. This is an ice cream shop.
Ice cream?
Ice cream. I mean...
He means the last place you'd ever expect, right? But check the security video. There he is, wearing a black hoodie, breaking through a window and right into Mashti Malone's ice cream shop here on La Brea. He runs out with a cash register, but there is no money in it. It's empty. So he comes back again, and not for a double scoop of Rocky Road.
All over the store. He broke one of the storage doors in the back. He was very desperate, in a hurry, and then he somehow found the cash tray.
The crime spree continues. Less than an hour later, less than a mile away, the gold nail bar here on Highland is hit. Same M.O. Plywood now covering up the smashed out window. The cash register here stolen, taken right past this high-tech security system.
Thank you for shopping 7-Eleven. For your safety, the parking lot is being video recorded.
They don't need any of the video. Why? Well, you won't believe it. LAPD spots that guy in his black hoodie walking down Hollywood and Highland with that stolen cash register right under his arm. As for the ice cream parlor, it's not the first time they've been hit here. Maybe even adding a new flavor now, a chocolate crunch for creeps.
We have 3 locations, and altogether, this is the 7th time in the past 2 years.
Now live. Any problem?
I think we're losing you, Ed. Did we lose his audio?
Yep. Yeah, I think. I don't know if you can hear me, Marla.
You're back with us now.
Marla?
Yes.
Okay. Good. I'll talk real fast then, in case we lose each other.
Take your time.
I said 46 years, he says, they've been in business. No problems over all of that time except for these last 2 years. No wonder this nice fella says at the ice cream parlor, it's just frustrating. He's just had it, he says.
Oh, I just can't imagine. What's been his communication like with the city, whether that's with a local council person or the mayor?
I mean, he didn't really get into that other than stressing more LAPD officers. He says you need police on the streets because he said it's Hollywood of all places, it's LA of all places, huge city, and he's one of many of the businesses in that area saying we just need more police. It would just feel very, very unsafe. In fact, several of the business owners over by that nail salon talked to us off camera. They were scared to actually go on camera, but they said it's frightening. Just we need to see more black and whites around here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Black and white patrol cars.
Yeah, and speaking of LAPD, they're at their lowest levels in 30 years. So, you know, the mayor put out the proposal that was approved to add more than 400 officers, but still, it's still well below the 10,000 that it was at one point. Ed, and by the way, you're very creative. Did you say chocolate crunch for a creep? Is that the flavor?
Thinking of
gosh.
Times it just. If you ever been to that, and they've got 3 locations, not to sort of give them a commercial, but they've flavors different. That was a flavored Turkish coffee. There's a lot of different flavors, and so we were kind of, you know, because you want to.
Yes. Okay. Unfortunately, you're in and out audio-wise, but I think we get the point, though. We thank you, Ed. Thanks, Ed. It's been an eyesore since 2019, but downtown LA's ocean-wide plaza, dubbed the Graffiti Towers, may finally get a fresh start. A joint venture by the KPC Group and Lend-Lease has offered about $470 million to buy the unfinished 3-tower complex near LA Live and Crypto.com Arena. If no higher bid comes in by April 9th, a judge could approve the sale and clear the way for redevelopment. New tonight, Huntington Beach has lost its fight against California's affordable housing laws. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear the city's appeal, leaving state housing rules in place. Governor Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta criticized the city for spending taxpayer money on lawsuits instead of building housing. Huntington Beach city officials say they want local control and plan to continue pushing back, but courts have consistently ruled that Huntington Beach must follow state housing laws. All right, let's take you live outside atop Mount Wilson on this Monday night and get ready for some really toasty temperatures. I think we hit in the 80s in downtown Los Angeles today. Did I get that right, meteorologist Star Harvey?
Yeah, you did. Really hard to believe, especially because last week...
Right, complete opposite.
Complete opposite. Not just really cold out there, but we saw temperatures in the 30s last week. And yes, we did have a lot of storm activity. Now, this week, the storm activity that we do see on the west coast, it's going to stay off point north. We do have some clouds moving into the west of us, and some of those beginning to mix in across the local areas. But otherwise, we are under dry conditions. And yes, we are going to see that warm up into the 80s and 90s for some this week. Downtown LA right now, we're at 60 degrees. We do have a wind moving at just about 3 miles per hour. Outside of downtown, we're still holding on to some mid 60s across Ontario. San Bernardino coming in at 59 degrees, 64 down in Torrance, and Manhattan Beach here at 60 degrees. 62 up in Porter Ranch. Here's a look at those winds, 5 to about 12 miles per hour across the area. Those west winds pushing out of Torrance at 12 miles right now. We do show our lows tonight starting to climb back up near their averages. That's going to place most of us in the mid to upper 50s. We'll have a few low 50s scattered across areas like Anaheim, Santa Ana, and yes, some 40s near Lake Elsinore. Here's a look into our temperatures tomorrow, Tuesday, topping off in the upper 70s to low 80s once again. I have the details on which areas are expected to see the 90s this week when I get back. For now, Marla, back to you.
All right, Star, thank you. Up next, the race is on. A record-breaking number of people have already signed up for a chance to snag tickets to the LA Olympics 2028. But how will the lucky ones be chosen? And a convicted kidnapper and serial child molester set to walk free. Why the decision is sparking outrage across the state. Plus, chilling details from the prosecutor who put him behind bars. Today was the first time we actually got to see Nick Reiner in court as he entered a plea to murder charges related to the death of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez was in the courtroom for the arraignment.
We'd like to go forward with the arraignment this time.
The arraignment for Nick Reiner, charged with the murder of his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner and his photographer wife, Michelle. Their daughter found them stabbed to death December 14th at their Brentwood home. Nick was arrested that night near Exposition Park.
Enter a plea of not guilty.
Through his new attorney, public defender Kimberly Green, the 32-year-old Reiner pled not guilty. He faces 2 counts of murder with special circumstances, including the use of a knife, which opens the possibility of the death penalty if he is found guilty.
And we have invited defense counsel to present to us, both in writing and orally in a meeting, any arguments that they would like to make in consideration for our going forward or not going forward with the death penalty.
The defense did not speak to reporters, allowing her client to speak in court only once, agreeing to delay his preliminary hearing for at least 2 months.
I would expect the preliminary hearing to probably get continued a few more times.
Criminal defense attorney Christopher Cheney is not working the Reiner case, but offers perspective on how he thinks they'll proceed.
He has a very, very good attorney on the public defender's side, and he still will get a very, very good defense. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see where this is heading, and some sort of insanity defense is most likely going to be the defense in it.
As you can see, he was not wearing a suicide watch vest, but that brown outfit he was wearing usually is for inmates who are under some kind of medical supervision. Now, he did wave at a couple of people who were in the audience. They waved back. They said their family, but did not identify themselves. Reiner does remain in custody, no bail. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
How about these numbers? So far, a record 5 million people have registered for the 2028 LA Olympic ticket draw. People will be randomly selected for ticket purchase time slots with notifications sent by early April. Ticket sales will begin shortly after that, with Paralympic tickets available in 2027. Registration, which has been open since January, runs through March 18th. You can go to tickets.la28.org.
Weather is sponsored by American Career College.
All right, we're heading back up the mountain to Mount Wilson there, and we're talking about temperatures in the 80s. If you're in the low desert, you're going to be in the 90s later this week. Meteorologist Star Harvey, not trying to steal your thunder, but I listened to you, and I just cannot believe the swings that we're dealing with.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people really excited about the heat that we are going to see this week. You know, we do still have a couple of weeks before we do move over into our next season, but we are definitely getting what feels like the middle of summer around here. Those temperatures will be growing throughout this week. I'm bringing us straight to our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This is going to be as we do roll over into the month of March. You'll see right here, oh, matches my color, right? I'm ready for the heat, 3-1 through 3-5. So March 1st through March 5th, we are going to see most of here, the West Coast, if not all, with those temperatures above their normal moving into the week. Let's go ahead and talk about our temperatures for tonight, because it's also been one of the topics we've been discussing. We've been talking about our temperatures, how they have been making a nice rebound, starting off with those temperatures in the 30s last week, even coming into the weekend. Our lows did manage to make it below their averages, but as we do move into this week, especially tonight, we are expecting that our temperatures are getting closer to where they're usually at for this time of the year. That is going to place us in the 50s. Now, here's a look into the moisture that is continuing to build up across the West Coast here, but a lot of that is staying off to the Pacific Northwest. We do see some of this energy seeping into Northern California, and this disturbance is expected to bring wet weather, not just for the start of the week. It will stay in place through the middle, but also into the ending of the week as well. Now, on the opposite side of our country here, we do show that they have across not just the East Coast here, but also into the Mid-Atlantic and the Midwest, many winter storms unfolding unfolding across the area. In fact, it's delayed and even canceled a lot of flights getting from here to there, meaning the west to the east. And otherwise, back here at home, we are under those drier conditions, and we do have the heat in place for this week. It started off for us today. Temperatures at 81 degrees. That did put us well above our averages of 68 degrees. Now, as we do move into tomorrow, but also into the remainder of this week, we're going to see those temperatures jump into the mid to upper 80s for some of us, and even the 90s across some of our deserts. Out there right now, we're at 60 degrees, so not too bad. We are under those partly cloudy skies, and winds moving just at about 3 miles per hour. 46 degrees right now in Palmdale. That is a lot cooler than what we do show happening across some of our valleys here, like the San Fernando Valley, 61 degrees. In Woodland Hills, that's a look into our microclimates. And then if you take a look out towards Big Bear, temperatures at 32 degrees. Marla, when I get back, I'll have a look at that 7-day forecast with proof that we do have some 90-degree temperatures headed this way. For now, back to you.
All right, very good. Coming up, new details tonight on Jeffrey Epstein's secret efforts to hide evidence, computers, photos, and more stashed in storage units across the country. But could investigators have missed a crucial clue? Outrage tonight over the upcoming release of a convicted serial child molester whose victims were under 7 years old. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Department among those outraged by the California Parole Board's decision to grant David Allen Funston parole. Funston was convicted of 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation in 1999 for the crimes he committed against boys and girls in the Sacramento area. Funston was sentenced to more than 2 decades in prison, as well as 3 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life for the crimes he committed in the Sacramento area. The now 64-year-old was recently granted parole under the state's elderly parole program. I spoke to the former deputy district attorney who prosecuted Funston. She tells me she's mortified as she recounts the horrific details of his crimes. Remind people of what he did.
So first of all, it's been reported in the public domain that he was convicted in Colorado for sexually assaulting a woman. He then came to California, and over a 6-month period of time, he went on a crime spree, essentially of hunting young children, children that were under the age of 7. I think the youngest one was 3 or 4 years old. He lured them with, he's every parent's nightmare, right? He lured them with candy or toys or Barbie dolls. One particular victim he took up to the mountains, and he horrifically sexually assaulted her, beat her, dumped her on the side of the road, left her alone. She was 5, walking along the road barefoot, crying. Another child was, I think, 3 or 4, took her to a house, sexually assaulted her, then dumped her in a neighborhood. I mean, these are very young children. In my entire career, I did this for a long time, 30 plus years, never seen anything like it.
Is there any recourse?
We're looking at all of our alternatives. I mean, I'm not the DA anymore, but I do run a nonprofit that could assist. We've written a letter to the Department of Corrections to ask them to evaluate him for being a sexually violent predator. That's our hope, because then he could conceivably be held after being released.
No word when Funston is scheduled to be released. Another arrest in the UK related to Jeffrey Epstein. Today, police arrested the former UK ambassador to the U.S. Peter Mandelson was taken into custody on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Police are investigating him over documents suggesting he passed sensitive government information to Epstein about 15 years ago. He does not face any allegations of sexual misconduct. The 72-year-old was fired from the most prestigious posting in Britain's diplomatic service in September, when the depth of his friendship with Epstein started to become clear. And new tonight, Epstein reportedly hid computers, photos, and other items in storage units across the U.S. A new report from the UK Telegraph says he used private investigators to move the materials as authorities closed in. Financial records show Epstein rented at least 6 units from 2003 until his death in 2019, with some items coming from his private island and homes. Investigators may never have searched the units, which could contain key evidence. Emails suggest Epstein moved the items to avoid police raids.
Coming up, we're in Westwood tonight, where city crews have cleared out a large homeless encampment only to have it come back. They cleared it out again only to have it come back again. The latest on this cycle right after this.
Plus, it's the biggest U.S. military buildup in the Middle East since 2003. So what's driving the show of force, and how is Iran responding?
SoCal, this is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
Only on Fox 11 tonight, the notorious homeless encampment in one of LA's busiest intersections in Westwood is back. We were there last month when city crews cleared it out, and since then, the cleaning and camping cycle has just kept going. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf live there tonight with the update. Matthew?
Well, Marva, that night a month ago, they were back within a couple of hours, and then again, city crews came, cleared it out. Since then, the homeless moved back in, and really that cycle's been going on over and over again, and this is something that happens all across the city of Los Angeles. If you take a look at this video, this is just a couple of hours ago tonight at this intersection, Westwood and Santa Monica. Tons of trash, liquor bottles, a barbecue, furniture, a bag of scrap metal, condoms, and human waste. Deplorable conditions for the around 10 people we've counted here this evening. Now, this comes again after about a month ago when we first did a story here where crews were clearing out the encampment. City officials threw away much of the trash, but within hours, homeless came right back out here. Since then, there's been more cleanups. Again, the homeless return, frustrating for people working and living nearby and for those living here on the street.
It's pretty embarrassing, honestly. I had some friends in town recently, and we're coming back from LAX, and we're right here, and it's like, oh wow, welcome to LA, you know? I mean, this is supposed to be one of the nicer areas.
I feel bad, certainly for the people. I mean, I'm sure that everyone has their own story that got them to this place, you know?
Have you been trying to get into a shelter or anything?
Yeah, I mean, they come and see me for housing, but I haven't really been pushing it other than that. I kind of stayed out here because of, like, the whole situation with that, you know?
Why not go to the housing?
Oh, because if I go to the housing, then I wouldn't be out here for the people that need me, so that's why I'm here.
What does that mean?
It means I help people myself out here, you know?
People that go to the shelters are the ones that are the most broken, the most violent, the most, you know, it's like being in prison without prison guards.
So you'd rather live on the street?
Than around, you could die in a shelter.
And Marwa, an update tonight. I just got a message from the councilwoman's office just a few minutes ago saying that signage is being made. And once they're done, they're going to install those signs that'll make it a no camping zone in this block. If you recall, this is what they were talking about a month ago. And it sounds like that process is still playing out. Reporting live in Westwood, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Okay, so then the answer at this point is to put signs up, and that's going to deter them from camping?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, you know, people can make their own judgment on how that sounds, but it says, you know, it sounds like that once that signage is up, then they can enforce the no camping laws. So once it's deemed a no camping zone, then they can start enforcing that.
In other words, bring law enforcement.
Bring law enforcement, or say, hey, you can't be living on the street in this block. Obviously, some people might think that they'll probably be where we are right now.
Okay, and then let me also ask you, did you see any of those same people who you interviewed a month ago? Were they out there, or was this just a different group of people?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I was looking through all the video footage, and we didn't recognize any of the faces that we saw a month ago. So it seems like the people that are here tonight, again, around 10 of them, are different than the ones we saw here about a month ago.
Interesting. Okay, well, it's a known location, so and that makes sense. People will migrate where they know they can. We'll follow up again. Thank you, Matthew. A CHP officer who died last July in Culver City has been found to have had fentanyl in his system. 34-year-old Miguel Cano crashed his cruiser while transporting a DUI suspect July 2nd. He reportedly felt ill before the crash and was administered Narcan at the scene, but later died at the hospital. The medical examiner has determined that fentanyl caused his death, though it remains unclear how the substance entered his system. Officer Cano is survived by his wife of 10 years. Well, tariff troubles are back and businesses are feeling the squeeze, some cutting staff, others raising prices. Fox's Edward Lawrence has more.
Tariff uncertainty is back. The Trump administration laid out plans to increase its global tariff at 15%, with carve-outs for USMCA and trade deals, replacing tariffs ruled illegal by the U.S. Supreme Court last week.
The president does not need Congress to move the tariff revenue back up.
Meanwhile, retailers are operating in the dark. Last year, many raced to stockpile inventory before tariffs took effect.
I feel like we are in an emergency situation now. It might not look that way on the surface, but it very much is so.
The National Retail Federation calling the Supreme Court ruling, quote, much needed certainty for U.S. businesses and manufacturers.
This isn't as big a deal as everyone keeps talking about. Sure, there's an impact. Sure, there's uncertainty, and that's probably the worst thing.
Many business owners have hit the brakes on shipments indefinitely. Others have cut staff and raised prices to deal with higher costs. Some of the biggest companies say they are passing tariff-related costs on to customers. Walmart attributed a jump in prices for certain goods to higher import duties. Levi Strauss says it's hiking prices in response to tariffs by modest amounts on lower-priced items.
Retailers should focus on running their businesses well, getting merchandise consumers really want to buy, having fantastic service, and a great website. And the rest of this is going to sort out, and it's not going to be a major hit.
The White House disputes tariffs are fueling inflation and hurting the economy.
He is fulfilling his mandate to the American people to bring back manufacturing and stop the U.S. from being ripped off by our trading partners.
The Trump administration says the tariffs will shrink the deficit by adding fair trade terms, energizing domestic manufacturing, and generating billions in federal revenue. At the White House, Edward Lawrence, Fox Business.
Well, ahead of President Trump's State of the Union tomorrow night, China is urging the U.S. to remove one-sided tariffs and warned it may respond if its interests are hurt. This comes after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down some tariffs last Friday, which were replaced with a new 15% global tariff. Beijing says the moves violate trade rules and hurt both countries. Experts say future talks will depend on economic strength and technology, while China stresses cooperation benefits both the U.S. and China. Tonight, the U.S. continues to increase its military forces in the Middle East. 2 aircraft carriers, including the USS Gerald R. Ford, along with 16 Navy ships, are now in the area. More than 100 fighter jets have also been sent to bases in the Middle East and Europe. This is the biggest military buildup since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. As nuclear talks with Iran go on, tensions are growing. Iran has warned it will respond strongly to any U.S. attack. Tomorrow marks 4 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Experts estimate 1.8 million military casualties on both sides, though exact numbers are unclear. Peace talks remain stalled over disputed territories and security concerns. The U.S. has spent $188 billion on Ukraine war-related efforts, with most funding approved by Congress. Well, up next, it's the untold story of a memorable era of USC football. A look back at the dynasty team built by Pete Carroll, the New York Times bestselling author behind the newly released Men of Troy, will join me. We have talked a lot lately about baseball and spring training underway right now in Arizona. But this week, the NFL Combine begins. College football kicks off in merely, 6 months? So it's never too early to talk about USC football. That brings us to a newly released book titled Men of Troy, The Epic Afternoons, Wild Nights, and Enduring Legacy of Pete Carroll's USC Trojans. The New York Times bestselling author Monty Burke is snowed in on the East Coast, likely wishing he was in sunny SoCal right now. He is with me. I bet you wish you were here. Good to have you. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Congrats on the book, but why The Men of Troy? What drew you to tell this story?
You know, I just think this is a singular era in college football, really in football in general. You know, it's full of triumph. It has a little bit of tragedy, but most of all, it's really fun. You know, you had this downtrodden coach, Pete Carroll, and, you know, winning championships and playing in the playing against Texas in what's considered to be the greatest college game ever played. You had the Bush push, you know, all the celebrities there. And then, of course, it all ended in a scandal and sanctions that really affect the school to this day. So to me, it was kind of an irresistible story.
And you're referring to the scandal of Reggie Bush, I imagine.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so there's been so much coverage of Pete Carroll's dynasty team. What makes yours special? What differentiates you?
Yeah, so there are some books out there, but they kind of take on segments of the dynasty, if you will. This is the first book that really takes it soup to nuts. I mean, we get there with Carroll. We go back into Carroll's background a little bit and see what an unconventional coach he was. You know, how he was really a player's coach and very different from the Nick Sabans, the Bill Belichick's of the world. And then we go through the build with guys like Carson Palmer and Troy Polamalu, the 2 championships in a row, the very near miss of, you know, beating Texas for an unprecedented 3 in a row, and then the sort of gradual slide, and then the sort of fall off at the end with the scandal. So, you know, I think given a little bit of room to breathe, you know, to talk to, I interviewed over 150 people for this book, all original interviews, just gave this book sort of more breadth. And, you know, it's kind of time for it, too. We're about 20 years out from the USC-Texas game, which is still the most watched college football game of all time, 20 years out from the Bush push. You know, it was kind of time to go back and revisit all these stories. Yeah, I mean, God, 2 decades. I'm feeling old. And yes, of course, we know that Reggie Bush, he has since received the Heisman. Your thoughts on that? And in light of the current college landscape, really, can there be another dynasty team like this one? I don't think so. I mean, you have to remember that when Carroll arrived at USC, there were no NFL teams in Los Angeles, and he started to win. And of course, celebrities love winners. So all of a sudden, you know, he had people like the Fonz and Arnold and Snoop Dogg and Will Ferrell who were coming not just to the games, but they were there at practice as well. So he created this incredible vibe that really took over the city of Los Angeles and really the nation to a certain degree. So I don't think that is going to happen anytime again. I mean, college football is mainly a sport of the sort of small to medium towns, places like Tuscaloosa and State College. USC, UCLA is also there, but USC is kind of the one big one that's in a big city, and they really captured all of that attention. Well, we saw Pete Carroll go back to the NFL. We know how that turned out this last season. What do you think, though, the legacy of Pete Carroll is? I think it's going to be a pretty incredible legacy, mainly because he did it so differently. And he did it at the college level, and he did it in the NFL. I mean, he's one of only 3 coaches to win both a national title and a Super Bowl. And he came within about 6 inches of winning 3 national titles in a row, and he came within 1 curious decision at a goal line and winning 2 Super Bowls in a row. So I think his legacy is secure. You know, he took over that Raiders team, which wasn't a very good team, but that happens. But I think he's one of the top 10 to 12 coaches in football history.
Well, he fought on, didn't he? That's one way to put it. All right, let's show our viewers your book one more time. Get them to buy this because they can. Right now, we have a lot of course, Trojans fans watching. Let's throw that up on the screen if we can. Monty Burke, Men of Troy, The Epic Afternoons, Wild Nights, and Enduring Legacy of Pete Carroll's USC Trojans. Great to talk to you, Monty. Thanks for taking the time out, and congrats on the book.
Thank you, Marla.
All right, let's talk more about the weather because I don't know if you heard that, but Monty Burke lives in New York, so he said he couldn't see out of his window all day today. And meanwhile, we could. We just saw a whole bunch of sunshine, didn't we?
That's right. We did see some sunshine today. And sorry, Monty, about all of that snow out there and the frigid conditions. Not the case here, at least in Southern California. Pretty sunny. We got some different weather up north. Wet. But also, we do show some of those clouds beginning to build in out to the west of us. We do, however, get through the remainder of not just this evening, but all of this week under dry conditions. We are expected to remain warm as well. In fact, some of our temperatures this week across some of the area, by the time we get to Friday, we're looking at 10 to 20 degrees above our normal. No rain in the forecast. And again, as we do head into Friday, we're looking at our heat peaking, which could potentially set some new records. Today, we saw a lot of 80s across the area, not just the downtown LA region, out to the east of us. So across the Inland Empire, down near Palm Springs as well. We had a mix of some 60s and 70s as well, 60s across our high deserts. And then we had those 70s streaming not just into Ventura County, but down along our coastline as well, from Long Beach down to San Pedro, also into Orange County. Now here's a look into that wet weather moving into tomorrow, staying off to the north of us. We do have high pressure to thank for that. With that ridge in place, we're going to remain dry, but also the heat is going to be taking over, building in through the middle of this week. And then also as we do make our way into the Friday of this week, moving into our weekend, temperatures will try their best to trickle down. But Friday, that's looking like maybe the pick of the week here. We're at 65 degrees in Burbank right now, 62 in Chino, San Bernardino at 61, 69 over in Malibu. Shifting gears into tonight, it's going to feel good to see our temperatures returning near their normal. That's going to place most of us in the 50s. Here's a look at this week, which might as well get ahead to that 7-day forecast. Here's a look at this week. 79 for tomorrow through this week. LA, we're expecting to reach the 80s by the time we get to Friday. And then this weekend, those temperatures falling back into the lower 80s, but still well above their normal for this time of the year. Here's a look into the valleys in the Inland Empire. Temperatures in the 80s for most of this week. Wouldn't be surprised by the time we get to Friday if we see those temperatures in the 90s. And if you are in the low deserts, you will see those temperatures in the 90s this week. Back to you.
All right, Star. Thank you. Sweet for sweet potato pie, red for red velvet cake, peach for cobbler, of course. 3 bestsellers that launched Critical Sweet Red Peach, a bakery chain started by Carolyn Plummer in Inglewood. In this Black Heritage Month story, Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna sifts the ingredients to this recipe for success.
How did a plumber become a baker?
That's funny, I know, right?
When Carolyn Plummer was growing up in Compton, she never saw herself selling cakes.
And 3 slices of lemon. Alrighty.
Let alone becoming the creator-owner of a bakery so popular, people drive from all over to get her sweet red peach treats. We met Carolyn on a day when her team was busy decorating strawberries and hand-cutting cookies for Valentine's Day. But it's the cakes and the cobblers that keep the business rolling in the dough the rest of the year. So how many different cakes do you make?
Oh my gosh, I can't even. Honestly, I don't know.
Carolyn is too modest to say, but she apparently has a special talent for taking the ordinary and baking it better. Her first cake was the red velvet. She tweaked the recipe, then tweaked it further to create the blue velvet.
It's the cousin to the red velvet. It's very similar in taste, but this one has fresh blueberries in it, so it stands out.
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
out of this world.
She opened her first Sweet Red Peach in Inglewood in 2011, but she was selling her cakes long before that, baking into the night after she finished teaching at Kelly Elementary.
And my colleagues at Kelly Elementary in Compton were my first testers, and they loved it, and then it sparked something in me.
Now, in 2026, Sweet Red Peach has 2 corporate locations and 5 franchise locations.
Especially in this economy, it's scary, but you know, you have to just keep everything consistent, keep everything right, because people will pay for quality, but when you try to go up on your prices and you go down on the quality, that's a recipe for disaster.
The day before Valentine's Day, the bakery sold out of many of the cake slices. Afternoon customers got lucky when a restaurant didn't pick up their order.
They'll just have to come tomorrow. We got to sell these because we don't have anything.
Because any way you slice it, life is better with cake. Sweet Red Peach cake, that is. Susan Hirosuna, Fox 11 News.
Next, it's a natural phenomenon that looks like liquid fire. So what makes this rare event so magical? There's a special event coming up next weekend, and you may want to mark your calendars for Dana Point's 55th Annual Festival of Whales from Friday, March 6th to Sunday the 8th. Visitors can enjoy the magical migration parade, a waterfront concert, and more. This annual event began in 1971 to celebrate the gray whale migration. It's become a beloved tradition in the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world. Look at this. Yosemite's famous firefall lit up Horsetail Fall last night, dazzling visitors. This video coming to us from Ando2Chill on Instagram. This rare February event happens when the setting sun hits the waterfall at just the right angle, making it glow like flowing lava. Clear skies and enough snowmelt are key for the stunning display, which draws thousands of photographers and nature lovers to the park every year. That does it for us. Thanks so much for being with us.